In 2025, a huge shift happened in India's legal landscape. We're talking about the Supreme Court's decisions on dowry harassment cases, which could honestly change everything. This is all about the famous Section 498A and the new Section 85 under the BNS, which is India's new penal code. So today, we're going to break down exactly what changed and why it is such a big deal. For years, Section 490A has been seen as a double-edged sword. On one hand, it's a shield for women who are facing real harassment. But on the other, many people argue it's been used as a weapon in messy divorces. So the big question on everyone's mind is, have the courts finally found the right balance between protecting people and ensuring justice? Well, 2025 was a definite turning point. And, the Supreme Court didn't just tweak a few rules here and there. No, it delivered a series of incredibly powerful judgments that basically sent a message to everyone. The old way of doing things, it's over. So how exactly did this all happen? Well, it all comes down to three specific landmark judgments. Let's take a look at the exact cases that are now rewriting the rulebook for these laws in India. Okay, the three big cases are Ghanshyam Soni, Sanjay D. Jain, and Muskan versus Ishan Khan. Now, what's really fascinating here is that even though these were totally separate legal battles with different people and different situations, the Supreme Court used all three of them to send one single, powerful, and very unified message. So what was that powerful message? To put it simply, the days of vague, generalized allegations are done. The court has now set a much, much higher standard. It's demanding specific, concrete details for any complaint filed under these laws. And here it is, the exact words from the Supreme Court. It's about as direct as you can get. False and vague allegations cannot be used to drag anyone into a case, neither the husband nor the in-laws. This one statement right here is the bedrock of this entire legal shift. Let's break down what this actually looks like in practice. It's no longer good enough to just say, everyone tortured me. Now the complaint has to answer, on what specific date did it happen? What exactly occurred? It's not enough to say, they demanded dowry. The court wants to know, what specifically was demanded? And you can't just say, the family was involved. You have to name exactly who did what in that incident. And this new rule for being specific has real teeth. If a police complaint, which is called an FIR, doesn't have these vital details, the High Court now has a really clear reason to quash it. And quashing just means dismissing the case completely, using its power under Section 482. So let's get down to it. What does all of this actually mean for husbands and their families who find themselves facing these kinds of accusations? Well, these judgments lay out some brand new protections and a much clearer path forward. The Supreme Court was especially clear when it came to in-laws. It basically said that it's an injustice to keep a criminal case going against them if certain things are true. Like if they live somewhere else entirely, if there's no specific proof against them as individuals, or if they're just all thrown together under a vague accusation like everyone did it. And this is so important. These rulings give people real actionable rights. An accused person can now go to the High Court and ask them to quash a vague FIR. They can use these very judgments to apply for anticipatory bail, which protects them from being arrested. And if it turns out the complaint was false, the path to filing a countercomplaint is now a whole lot clearer. When you piece all of this together, you can see it points to a major shift in thinking. The legal system is now moving away from just acting on allegations, and it's embracing a new fundamental principle. And there it is. That's the core message from the Supreme Court in 2025. Justice comes from evidence, not just from allegations. The whole point of Section 490A is to protect people, but that protection can't come at the expense of justice, which has to be built on facts you can actually prove. And that's really why all of this matters. If you, or maybe someone you know, is caught up in a case under these laws, this isn't just some interesting legal trivia. Understanding these judgments is absolutely essential, because they now decide whether a case even gets off the ground or if it gets stopped right at the beginning. So, this leaves us with the ultimate question, doesn't it? These rulings are clearly designed to stop the law from being misused, but is there a chance they could accidentally make it harder for genuine victims to get the protection they desperately need? Finding that perfect balance between protection and justice, that's the real challenge, and 2025 has definitely drawn a new line in the sand.